it's Sydney and Merry Christmas. Today I'm going to talk about how to deal with frustrating situations. The kind of situations that just get your blood boiling and all those feelings of being annoyed and frustrated and angry start to show up. And how to deal with that in a way that you won't regret later. There are generally two different ways of dealing with this. Either you take all of that stuff that you want to do and say and feel and you shut it in, and you hold it in, and you don't express any of it. And then kind of feel like you really wanted to say that thing or deliver that bud. And the other way is to take everything that you want to do in that moment and do it. And just let everything out and, deliver a sick burn or whatever it is. And then feel bad about it later because you were so angry at the time and you regret what you said and did. So then how do we deal with these kinds of situations in a way that we can feel good about later? First thing is to decide beforehand how you want to be in a frustrating situation. We've all been in them before. We've all experienced times when we felt frustrated and we've wanted to say and do things, and maybe we have and maybe we haven't. So how do you want to be in those kinds of situations? What kind of person do you want to be in general? And that translates to how you deal with those situations. If you know what your values are and you consciously become aware of them, then it's much easier to know beforehand how you want to deal with a situation. So for me, as an example, as a kid, I was pretty angry a lot, and that meant that I would say things or get punchy, like as a really small child. And what would happen is that I'd get scolded for it, and people would get angry and say, "Stop that, it's not how you behave." And so I did, stopped it, bottled it all up. Even when I wanted to say stuff, I wouldn't say it. But the reason why I wasn't doing or saying anything anymore was because I didn't want to get scolded. And so it felt very frustrating not to say something, because in the moment, I wanted to so badly. And then afterwards I think I could have said and done those things, but I didn't. Now I feel like I didn't do everything I could in that situation. So that felt like everything was being bottled up. Then later on in life, and now, because I know that I want to handle a situation that is frustrating, or a situation where a lot of people are angry and want to fight each other, I know that how I want to deal with those situations is as a calm, compassionate person. That gives me an idea of what strategies I can use in different situations and how I want to be and act in those situations, because I know beforehand what kind of person I want to be, and it's coming from a place of my own self-identity, how I want to be. If you want to be someone who manages to say the most hurtful things in a situation, then fine. As long as you know that's what you want to do it, then go ahead, I guess. But that is the basis of how to handle each situation, is to know beforehand what kind of person you want to be in general, and then that translates to what kind of person you want to be in those situations. So then, once you know what it is you want to be about in life, and thus in those kinds of situations, now it comes down to, okay, now how can I deal with the situation calmly and elegantly? If you don't want to deal with the situation calmly and elegantly, you can stop watching this video. The first thing is, when you feel your emotions starting to build up and rise up, and the desire to do something hurtful or to lash out comes up, that's coming up because your fight or flight response is actually being activated, It's no longer a situation of dealing with other people or things. It's a situation of dealing with an enemy or a threat to your life. Your decision making is compromised now because the whole idea of having a fight or flight response is to actually bypass your thinking, because it wouldn't help if you're being attacked by a mountain lion and you saw it coming and went, how can I best deal with this situation? And you sit there pondering your options as this thing is coming towards you and then it eats you and then you're dead. And then your species no longer survives, so that wouldn't work. Once you're in that fight or flight mode, all your best thinking, all the strategies that you have, all the things that you know you should do, all the ways in which you know logically to deal with the situation kind of fly out the window. And then you start to do and say those things that you regret later, and you're like, I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I did that. That was not me. And in a sense, it wasn't you. It was your survival instincts. So the only thing you want to be doing when you're in that state is doing things to get out of it and to at least go down to a level where you're sort of back in control of your body. So an easy way to do that is to just focus on your physiology and how your emotions and the way your body is and how much tension you're holding is linked up. If you smiled enough, even if you're in a bad mood, and improved your posture, it would raise your mood a little bit. At the same time, when you're in a poor mood, it also affects the way you're standing and holding yourself and feeling inside. So once you're starting to get riled up, just bring your attention to different parts of your body and notice, like, oh, maybe your shoulders are sort of hunched in, your stomach is very tight, and your face is starting to tense up, and your skin is starting to itch because you're feeling a bit like, frustration, right? And then just sort of loosen up a little bit. You don't have to do it very conspicuously, just breathe a little bit, especially because when you start to get frustrated, your breath starts to get very short and very shallow. So if you just take a deep, big bellied breath, it's totally against that particular feeling and how it shows up in your physical body. It's the complete opposite of how it's able to show up, and so you can't have the two things happening at the same time. The physiological response of frustration and anger and fight and flight with those deep breaths. So that's one thing that you can do, is to change your physiology. And then there are, of course, other things that may be you specific that you can explore and look into. So once you get out of that highly frustrated state, and you're able to at least move back down to a level where even if you're still frustrated, you're able to do and say the things that you actually mean to say, that based on the kind of person you wanted to be in these kinds of situations. That was the first step, right? Once you're back there, then you can re-enter and deal with it in a way that works out for you. And the last thing I'd like to note is that we aren't perfect, and you and I, we're not going to always deal with everything the way we want to, the way we see it in our heads. And you may do something that you didn't want to do in that situation. And so it's important to recognize that that doesn't mean that you're a bad person or that you failed. It means that for that particular occasion, maybe you didn't do so hot and you didn't do exactly what you wanted to do. That's okay. Perfection doesn't exist. And if you did something and you really didn't like the way you responded, then you can just reach out to the people that you may have affected and say you're sorry. And whether or not they accept your apology isn't really your business, but at least you let them know that, hey, what I did back there, it's not okay with me that I did that, so I'm sorry. And that's it. That's how to deal with frustrating situations where you may do something or say something that you didn't mean to, and I hope that was helpful, and enjoy your holidays, and I will see you guys. Am I making another video this year? If I am, then I'll see you in the next one. If not, I'll see you in 2017. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.